right, everybody, we're back with a brand new high performance health podcast here today on the Cabral Concept. Excited to get into this because this is one I wanted to record for our high performance health community and, of course, share it with everyone in our community as well. But it is a podcast that I actually spoke about. I talked specifically about this particular protocol maybe a couple of years ago now, and it was by Dr. Sears, and it was called the PACE protocol. I'm going to go through all of it today, so don't worry about listening to the previous podcast. But what I did was I found the original white paper on this, and it's very impressive. And so for anybody that hasn't been tuning into the podcast for the last couple of years, I wanted just to bring this full circle because you have four main types of cardio essentially, and this one burns more body fat than all the others, which is pretty impressive, right? Well, the more impressive thing is that the workout's actually 12 minutes long. Now, I know a lot of that sounds like hype, and I totally get it. When you listen to it, I think you'll understand that this goes well beyond a normal, 30-minute workout or whatever it might be. And I'm going to walk you through all the different steps. There's basically just 5 steps. I'll take you through it, but I'm also going to list them for you. So if you want to head on over to stephencabral.com/3086, I will link all of this up for you. I'll link up the white paper if you love to look at the research. I'll link up the 2 books that are based on this, kind of more obscure books. I looked at them on Amazon, and I was actually surprised at the lower amount of reviews, but the content is great. So always like to give a little bit of love to those who deserve it. And let's just dive right in. So basically, this is better than HIIT-based training. And there are 4 main types when we look at cardio. So there's basically activity. I call that walking. All of us should strive for 10,000 steps a day. Some people can't do it for biomechanical issues, foot issues, et cetera, et cetera. But that's the goal. If not, we try to hop on an exercise bike, right? Or we try to do something where we can get our body moving. All right. Really, the next level is cardiovascular. Let's call it more zone 2. Zone 2 is extremely important. It really is. It's that boring, steady state cardio, but it is great for the heart. It's great for the cardiovascular system. It's great for blood pressure. It's great for anti-cancer, great for anti-Alzheimer's, great for balancing blood sugar. Truthfully, it's the best thing that I've seen in my practice in terms of exercise for blood sugar. It brings down blood sugar the fastest with zone 2 cardio because it doesn't create more fight or flight based response in the body. So, and again, this is obviously to a degree. If you're running a marathon, it's kind of a different story, but I'm talking about your average individual going out for 20 minutes to 40 minutes of cardio. Okay. So that's cardio. Lots of podcasts on that. The next level up is HIIT training, high intensity interval training. A lot of people love that. You start to move to zone 3 and zone 4. Typically you don't hit zone 5 because you're doing multiple minutes in a row, right? So that's great. Getting the heart rate elevated, oftentimes doing it with resistance training at the same time. So you're getting a whole lot of benefits. So HIIT training can be absolutely amazing as well. But there's one more level. And that's what my previous podcast was on. It's got to be 3 years ago now because I'm starting to remember it. And it was on sprint interval training. I will link it up for you if you want to check it out. Everything will be at stephencabral.com/3086. So this is called SIT training. So you've got HIIT training. You've got Metcon training, which is very similar, metabolic conditioning. That's what we did in my body transformation studio I won't say the late 90s, but I'll say all through the 2000s, and extremely effective. It's what I built the Man's Guide to Muscle and Strength book around. That was published in 2010. It's for women as well. Just the publisher wanted to list it as a man's guide. I had no control over that. I was a young author. Definitely got taken advantage of with that book, but that's okay. The goal was to get out the best information I could on programs that are evergreen. They'll last forever. They're workouts that will be good in 100 years from now. They've stood the test of time, right? And was when I wrote that, I probably had about 15 years of experience in the industry. I'd worked with many, many people. Anyway, it's not a promotion for the book. I might make 50 cents, if you purchase a copy, but I do recommend it. I definitely recommend that. All right. But what is sprint interval training? Sprint interval training is a whole different level of exercise, and it is maximal output for 30 seconds maximum. So if you can go all out for 60 seconds, well, you're not doing sprint interval training because it should be an all out effort for just 30 seconds. That means not everybody is qualified to be able to do sprint interval training. So that's really important, that you should work your way up to 10,000 steps a day. We call it the graduated exercise program inside of IHP, Integrative Health Practitioner Institute. We teach that to all of our coaches. Then regular cardio, get your body conditioned. Then you can do some HIIT training. Then you can do sit training. So sprints can be done at 70%. That's okay. But when you get to 100%, typically on an exercise bike, so I do them on a assault bike. Basically, it's handles and it's pedals. So Rogue makes one. What's the company that begins with an S that makes it that I always, Schwinn, they make an Airdyne bike. Those are my favorite bikes for Tabatas and sprint interval training. Sprint interval training is way harder than a Tabata. Just want you to know, if you do it right, that's why it has this metabolic effect. And I want to go into the metabolic effect right now. So just keep that in mind. I'll talk about rest periods in just a moment. It's only 30 seconds, but it is maximal, 100% effort. And when you're getting to basically 20, 22 seconds, you're like, when is this going to end? And you're done at 30 seconds. That's why it's great to do it with a partner if you can. And again, you need to be physically fit to do it. So you can work up to this. All right. So here we go though. What were the results of this study? Well, the results are actually amazing. The first outcome was 27% reduction, collective reduction in body fat. So the next one was 31%. So it actually improved. Overall BMI decrease of 4%, improvement in blood lipids. That means unhealthy levels of cholesterol. And it was with no change of diet. And it was done in 8 weeks. So 2 months. And it is no more than 20 minutes per workout. We'll talk about that. It's technically 12 minutes, but we want a little warm up. We want a little cool down. And that's it. So I love, it was called, this is an independent one done by King's Daughters Medical Center. I'll go over that. I'll link up everything for you. But it is 8 hours of exercise over an 8-week period. Now, 8 hours sounds like a lot, but it's 20 minutes 3 times a week. But technically, it's only 12 minutes because you have a warm up and cool down 3 times a week. So that's what it is if you want to replicate these results. Now, I do this myself, but I only do it once to twice a week. I could do it 3 times, but truthfully, I don't want to. That's not really part of my exercise program right now, but really impressive results. So much so this was originally done by Phil Campbell. And I apologize if Phil Campbell is a doctor of exercise physiology or doctor, then I would use that title. I just don't recall right now. But it was created by Phil Campbell. I want to make sure that I give credit where credit's due. Yes, Phil Campbell, and later spoken about by Dr. Al Sayers. There seems to be some discrepancy, was like Dr. Al Sayers using it first, and Phil Campbell published the study. Doesn't really matter. They're both doing great work. Dr. Sayers' program is called the PACE program, and Phil Campbell's program is called Sprint 8. They're both identical, which is why I'm going to take you through it right now. But let me share with you why it seems to work so well. So this was an outside opinion right here. No one can deny the favorable results produced by growth hormone injections. That means people being injected with growth hormone. Pros and cons, right? There's pros and cons to that, and I'm not someone that's recommending it. So when growth hormone is injected, the results are, on average, a 14.4% drop in body fat and an 8.8% gain in lean muscle. That means body fat goes down and muscle goes up. Our study, so the Sprint 8 study, 8 weeks, 20 minutes per workout, 3 times per week, on middle-aged working adults. I believe the average age was around 47. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in the study was, it ranged up to maybe 57 years old. Okay, so our study on middle-aged working adults shows that targeting growth hormone with Sprint 8 gets twice the results of injecting growth hormone in body fat loss. So pretty impressive, right? By doing these sprints, 8 total, 2 to 3 times a week, 3 for this study, you can get better results in increasing growth hormone and reducing body fat. So there may be a tie for why this works so well, directly related to an increase in your own growth hormone. All right, I'm gonna save all the studies for you. I don't want to bore people, but if you want to check it out at stephencabral.com/3086. Now let's get into how to actually complete this workout, because I don't like to just share the studies. I like to give you how you can easily implement this in your program. So here's the bottom line. All you need is an exercise bike. People were allowed to do an upright bike or a recumbent bike. I am not an advocate of a recumbent bike. Few individuals use it. If you really want to take things to the next level, and assault bike, just arms and legs going at the same time. Hard workout, but incredible. My favorites are at stephencabral.com/resources. That's where all my favorite resources are. And here's what we're going to do. You're going to start with a 3 to 5 minute warm up. In the Sprint 8 program, I believe it was 3 minutes. For Dr. Sears, it's 5 minutes. Truthfully, I'd go with the 5 minutes. Just let your body warm up. All you're going is at just a light pace, then a medium pace, just to get the blood flowing. That's all that you're doing. All right. Next up, you are going to sprint all out for 30 seconds. I want to give you a caveat. I do something a little bit different with my clients and myself. My first sprint is only at 60 to 70% maximum capacity because it is your first sprint that you are most likely to lock up or pull a hamstring or hip flexor or something else. So I like to do one sprint at 70%. I still count it, but that's what I like to do. Get the body properly warmed up. Hey, this is what you're going to be doing. And it's still hard. It's not that it's not. For older clients getting into this, I will do 2. I will do about 60%, then I'll do about 80%, and the next 6 will be at 100%. So I'm just letting you know what I do in my practice. I'm always about live to fight another day. Work out another day. No one workout makes it or breaks it. And so I like to make sure that we're in this for the long run, that you can do this when you're 80, 90, 100 years old. So that's what I do, but it's not part of the Sprint 8 or Dr. Sears program, which are essentially identical. All right, warm up 3 to 5 minutes. Here's what you're going to do. Sprint for 30 seconds, all out, as fast as you can go, as hard as you can go. Then you're going to rest for 90 seconds. All you're going to do, I'll let your legs pedal on the bike. That's it. Just pedal slowly, keeping the blood flowing, nothing crazy. The goal here is to allow your heart rate to come down. Because if your heart rate's not coming down in that next minute and a half, 90 seconds, it's going to be hard for you to go all out for that next 30. All right? So that's it. Now, rest, active rest. So active recovery period, they call it ARP. And you're just going to move at that or active recovery pace for 90 seconds. 90 seconds is up. Sprint for 30 seconds and repeat. That's all you're doing for 8 total sprints. So if we look at that, 3 times 4, 12 minutes total. Add a 5-minute warm-up in the beginning, we're at 17 minutes. Add a 3 to 5 minute cool down, we're at 20 minutes. A couple more if you're adding a little bit longer cool down. I think you're good at 3 minutes to end it. You've already done your work. You're just now cooling down your body. Don't lie down after the workout. You can just pace. You can just walk around. So that's really all there is to it. And that is what gets you the results. So that's why things don't have to be really complicated. Your body and its internal workings will do the work. What matters is your warm-up, preparing your body. You can do a dynamic warm-up. You can do hip swings and all sorts of different things. I won't go through that here today. And then you hop in that bike. You get the blood flowing. I recommend one fast but not all out sprint, and then going all out for those next 7 sprints. Now, a couple other caveats. When you're first starting out, you may not be able to do all 8. Most of my clients couldn't do all 8, nor was I going to push them to do all that. Here's the nice thing. You've got a long time to be able to add this to your program. So here's what we do. We do 4 the first week, right? We don't need to do 8 because they're going to get benefit just doing 4 because they've never done this before. That's why don't be as dogmatic when you see a lot of these things. First week, you can do 4. 4 is amazing because it's an add-on to your already working program. So this is what I do. It's after a weight training day. So typically you do your weights. That's when I would do the sprint day, not on a zone 2 cardio day. You're welcome to do it at the end of a zone 2 cardio day, but I typically don't do it then. I do it after a weight training day for clients. Leaves at a nice, especially a strength training day. This boosts the metabolism, right? So it's great to do after a strength training day. All right. So we do 4. What do we do the next week? 5. The next week, if they can, 6. The next week, 7. The next week, 8. So over the course of 4 to 5 weeks, we work up to all 8. And that's it. Again, nobody has to be testing you. There's no grades here. But if you do this over time and you improve your cardiovascular, your anaerobic threshold, all of these things, you will see body transformation as they showed in the study, regardless of diet. Now, do I think you should be eating well? Of course. but sprint interval training can be one more thing you add to your longevity, anti-aging, and body transformation programs to get you fantastic results. Hopefully this was helpful, everybody. Please do feel free to leave your comments below. I would love to hear from you. And of course, if this was helpful, do feel free to share this with anyone you believe it could serve. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.